Hello, folks. Hello. Greetings, y'all. Um, so I am first making sure that this is working because it just does nobody any good if it's not. And there we are. So, welcome. Today we are going to do our live workout session. It's rainy outside here in Vancouver, and so we are going to do it in the comfort of my new home for the time being. And I just want to add this to the connected community, so that is in there. And I'm going to do it in the hallway. And I was told by a coach of mine years ago that if you can create a full body workout for your client in an elevator, then you're not a very good coach. So this isn't an elevator, but as you can see, it is a hallway. So there's not a whole lot of extra room, but essentially this is where we are going to train today. And I'm just going to set up one more thing. So I can kind of go from a couple of different levels here. I'm going to take off my stuff. And so what I've been doing with these sessions, and it is entitled Mind to Muscle to Spiritual Mastery, and essentially there's a very intentional component woven into the fabric of the movement. So instead of just counting repetitions or feeling the pain that the body has to offer up when we build up things like lactic acid and different things like that from the actual movement components, we are actually using the movement as a catalyst to create change internally. And so things like neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change structurally and functionally, are dramatically improved and increased when we're moving, as well as the vigorousness or the passion that happens when we're moving. I mean, you try to do resistance training and not feel invigorated, not have a passion come up from you, and so that passion is an elevated emotion, and it's in terms of like creating what we want, in terms of rewiring the brain, in terms of like manifestation. There's a very scientific methodology woven into that, and it's about thinking what we want, which sends out an electrical impulse. Thoughts are essentially the language of the brain, and the feeling is the language of the body. The feeling draws it back to you. So the feeling is a magnetic impulse. And again, if you're just sitting there meditating and you're thinking, okay, I want to be healthier, I want to be wealthier, I want to, want lots of money or provide lots of service, whatever it is, oftentimes during the meditation, it's very hard to come up with an elevated emotion to marry with those thoughts that you're sending out. And so the movement will really aid you in elevating that emotion. And so, as you're sending that signal out and drawing it back to you, you're literally creating evidence in the brain and body. Every time we return to a thought, that same thought, we're strengthening a neural network or a neural pathway in the brain, and that neural pathway creates a certain type of chemistry in the body. And so we're really using the movement. And I was just sitting in a little stairs, so we can take it a little bit, so you can see everything. And really, so when we start to move and we're intentionally focused on what we want to create, then the movement, the external stimulus, becomes the catalyst to create a more profound internal shift in our brains and in our bodies, right? Whereas if you're just moving and you're like, kind of that grunt and groan, no pain, no gain kind of mentality that typically is associated with movement, especially in the gym or resistance training and that sort of thing. Maybe not necessarily dance, for example, or different types of dance or that sort of thing. But with if you're not really mindful, it's kind of like turning the news on and just going about your day or getting ready for work or that sort of thing, and the news is going into the subconscious mind, right? Whereas if you're intentional and you're focused on what you're creating and where you're going and how you want to feel, then that intention, that focus is gonna really change everything. So that's kind of the rewiring process that we're going through today. So you can just start with just some stretches. I like to get the cobwebs out of the body a little bit. If you don't have your towel, I would suggest to go get a towel if you're going to follow along today. So towel, a little bit of water, comfy clothes. And the towel is, we're going to weave it into the workout, but right now we're just going to do some hip mobility stuff. So you're just going to rock side to side. Right, and that's just going to open up the hips a little bit, create a little mobility. Really good if you're sitting a lot, then this is a great exercise. Just for the back, just to kind of open things up a little bit. Create a little activation, a little movement in through the hips. Now, where the intentional component comes in, right, we'll just go up. So again, just stretching out. So just one foot up, take it outside of the elbow and the arm, and we can stretch, right? And I want you, as you're doing this, just to start thinking about what you're calling in, right? So what you manifest, whether it's optimal health, whether it's increased energy and vitality, whether it's more money, better relationships, starting a business, finding your purpose, living your mission, creating more service, being in gratitude for the things that you already have, right? So gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. So if you are in full gratitude, right, of what you already have, then you're focused on that gratitude and being in a state of receivership. Because you're focused on gratitude, you're going to get more of what you're grateful of, right? So there's an old saying that what we focus on grows. So if you are, again, having the movement be a catalyst for change, if you're focused on the pain that's being created from the movement that you're doing, well, then it feels like the pain gets more profound. Whereas if you're focused on it and intentionally choosing to create, right? So for me, I'll choose things like love. So we're just going to come up and go into a squat, right? So feet shoulder width apart. You can come down into kind of a prayer position, and you just want to make sure that your back stays nice and flat, right? And as you come up through, you can squeeze the bum. And right, so for me, I'm focused on love, mission, wealth, purpose, ease, flow, gratitude, right? And each one of these words I'm associating with an image, with a picture in my mind, right? Because we think in pictures. You want to be able to really get this so you can see a little bit more. You want to really be able to have each word associated with an image of what you're drawing in, of what your life is going to be like, of how you're going to feel, of what you're going to be living like, when these things happen, as if they're already happened, right? So for me, for love, I see a picture of I'm on the left, my Wife is on the right. It's our wedding day. We're holding hands. You can see the ring on the finger. Right? So love for me is that image of what I'm calling into my life. It hasn't really happened yet, except that instills in me a feeling of like excitement, a feeling of, like I can really see it. I can see it. I can feel it. Right? And so every time I think that thought, if you're getting tired, you can take a little rest. I'm getting carried away here, so I'm just going to keep going with the squats. So you can see how my mind's not on the pain associated with squatting and the lactic acid buildup in the system, so I can actually just go forever. Right? And so when I'm thinking about love, or whatever thought that is for you, right? Gratitude, wealth, health, service, mission, purpose, ease and flow in your day. So because I'm thinking about that thought, and I return to that thought, it's increasing the strength in a neural pathway, right? Or a neurological network. And every time I return to that, it gets stronger and stronger. And because I'm moving, the brain is very neuroplastic, right? So there's an increased state of my brain's ability to change structurally and functionally. So I'm literally rewiring the subconscious brain, the subconscious programming, while I'm thinking of those thoughts of love. And now, because of the movement, there's an invigoration, there's an energetic component, there's a, I'm passionate, I'm engaged. So now when I think of love and that picture of my wife's and my hand joined on our wedding day, which again hasn't happened yet, it's instilling in me a vibration, emotion of excitement, of really seeing that come to fruition. So now I'm creating literal physical evidence in the brain through the thoughts and in what I'm feeling, the chemistry, which is perpetuated and exponentially increased by the movement component. Okay, so I'm going to go down. So that was, I don't even know how many squats we did, but we did a lot. So we're going to go down now, and we're going to do a push-up, right? And so this is, I think, really great. Instead of doing anything too wild and crazy today, we'll just do a mad amount of repetitions, right? So we got legs, squats. We got chest, push-ups. All right, so just going down as deep as you can. If it gets to be too much, you can always drop to your knees, right? And just coming forward like that. If it's too easy, then throw some plyos in there, right? So just move the hands in and out. You can play with different things, right? You can come all the way down and you can pop the hands up at the bottom, right? You can switch kind of one hand to the front, one hand to the back, but all the while, whatever movement you're doing, you are focused on your word, which brings the image up of what you're calling into your life, right? So, and you're rewiring the brain, rewiring the subconscious mind, reprogramming the brain, and creating an entirely new type of chemistry in the body instead of focused on the pain from the workout, from the repetitions, that sort of thing. I'm going to do a few more, but I'm going to come nice and wide this time, and you can actually go side to side. All right, so you can play with that. You can actually lift one leg and the other. All right, so that was chest. Okay, now we're gonna add in a little bit of shoulder and a little bit of back. So this is where the handy dandy towel comes in. And again, I've showed a few different exercises with the towel, but really easy, really simple. And it's beautiful because you're putting a load in through the lower body and upper body, and that load is transitioning. So you're putting a certain amount of tension in through the leg and in through the back or the arms or the shoulders at the same time. And because you're in control of the whole thing, you're able to basically keep the same amount of tension or resistance on the various muscle groups throughout the entire range of motion, which is, I mean, it's just beautiful. I just love it. All right, so we're going to start with the elbows high coming in from the shoulders, pulling the elbows back and putting it in. So as the leg bends, so I'm pushing with the leg now and I'm actually resisting with the shoulders, and I'm resisting with the leg and pulling in with the arms, right? So you can play with different versions. You can actually pull the elbows back and keep the legs straighter, so you're going to get a stretch in through the hamstring a little bit more, right? So really, you can just play with this and it becomes a flexibility and a strength apparatus at the same time. All the while you are, this is my business partner, Jeremy. We've been doing these workouts. Oh, he's not even, oh no, it hasn't shown up yet. I'm streaming through Real Stream. So he will show up momentarily here. A little bit of a lag. There he is. That's so funny. So yeah, we've got the towel now that we're incorporating, right? So that's shoulders, right? So you've got a little bit of shoulder work. And again, just play with the resistance level, right? You don't have to kill yourself if it's your first time using this. And you're going to want to keep your head and your eyes nice and straight, right? And as you pull in the elbows high, you're just going to resist coming down. So I'm resisting. I'm pulling with the arms now, resisting with the leg. And because of the position of my elbows, I'm hitting the posterior deltoids, the medial deltoids, right? So middle and back of the shoulder, as well as squeezing the shoulder blades together. And that's going to hit my rhomboids. And of course, at the same time, you are focused on your word. That word is associated with a picture. And as a result, you're rewiring the subconscious mind. You're reprogramming the mind. You're creating new neurology. And that new neurology is creating a shift in your chemistry and how you're feeling, in the chemistry that the body is creating. And the mixture of the thoughts and the feelings are sending out an electrical magnetic impulse of the thoughts that you're thinking. So you are becoming the creator, you're becoming the manifester of that which you desire. And oftentimes people shut off when I say that, but all of the sciences, the quantum sciences, quantum physics, epigenetics, that new model is telling us that without a doubt, a shadow of a doubt, we are not pre-programmed to a genetic destiny, a genetic future, which is to say that we're going to get or have or manifest the same conditions or disease or what have you that our parents did. It just doesn't work that way, that we have a choice. And when we choose to think about what we want, it's going to change how we feel. When we combine those two things, the thinking and the feeling, we literally create physical evidence in the brain and body that that future potential exists. And then we walk into it. So it takes us from a Newtonian. So I'm just going to switch gears here. I'm going to come back to that thought in a second. So keeping the elbows lower, you're going to engage the back. Okay, so in through the lats, you're going to make a nice thick or tapered or lean, depending on the level of resistance and your food levels and all that sort of thing. It's all going to have a bearing. But again, I'm keeping the elbows down. I'm doing that row from the back, and I'm resisting with the leg as I pull in, and I'm pushing with the leg and resisting with the back as I push out, right? So back to that thought that I was saying earlier, right? The quantum model of reality is causing an effect. So the old model is the Newtonian, and it's, I'm going to perceive through my senses, and I'm going to look at all of the stuff, the results, the things, the people going on around me, and that's going to cause me to think certain thoughts, which is going to cause me to feel a certain way. And typically it's going to be uninspired, and I'm going to feel like a victim, and I'm going to play into that role. And that less inspired way of feeling and outlook on life is going to cause me to take the actions that are going to produce the same level of results. Whereas the quantum model is saying, no, I don't care what my results are currently. I don't care what the outside world is saying or is going on. I'm going to choose what I think about. Those thoughts are going to create a different set of feelings, a different set of chemistry in the body. I'm going to feel more inspired. I'm going to take more inspired action. That's going to cause me to become the creator, to change my results, right? And if that's all you get from this session, then that's more than enough. Sorry.
No. Yeah.
Right, so we're trying to figure out how the space works for co-working. We just moved in, and we got different areas. We got an office, but it's not set up yet. So, but yeah, so this one is just coming in, right, and you're gonna increase your level of resistance with that. Okay, and we'll do one more with the towel. So this one is kind of fun, and this one essentially is it's basically an isometric, right? So, but there is a little bit of movement, and you're going to engage the legs and the glutes and the back as well. Okay, so again, you just want to make sure the back is nice and flat, and you're going to pull up and in. And as you do that, you're going to straighten the legs. And then as you slowly bend the legs, you're going to pull with the arms and bend the arms and elbows and legs at the same time. So there's a load, there's tension going through both the legs and the back and a little bit of the shoulders at the same time. And you can really increase the level of resistance and keep that level of resistance on throughout the entire range of the movement. Right? And you can see, you can hear from the level of exertion and the level of being out of breath that I'm at, that you can really make this as intense as you choose. Right, so I'm really taking it nice and slow and really moving through that entire range of motion.